belong to old New York, my dear.
Perhaps the time has come for a new chapter.
Making a statement isn't enough. We need to win.
I'm not gonna say we were born for this.
Some of us were.
Clang, clang.
Maybe we have unfinished business.
To our newest band member, a delightful freak show, and our great new friend.
That is a hit record.
I want to tell our love story.
We got a lot of work to do, kiddo.
I know it's challenging, but I love all of them. You're good.
I got you, and we got you.
I am the future.
Longeretta. I'm with the Variety, and I'm really excited to introduce this panel because who doesn't need some laughter in their life? So let's start off with the one and only Craig Robinson. Of course, the executive producer and talent on Killing It. Next up, we have ex-Mayo from American Auto. Augusta Jackson, creator, showrunner, executive producer, and writer on Grand Crew. Craig, you're right down here. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. Here we go. Craig, why don't you can come sit here, Craig. Here we go. Liza Koshy, she is actor and producer who is currently a judge on Dancing with Myself.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, Ed Helms, co-creator and executive producer and talent on Rutherford Falls.
It's good.
A single chair?
No, I don't want All right, guys, thank you so much for doing this today. I'm so excited to dive in. And Craig, I want to start with you. And I want to start talking about a little bit about this show and what drew you into it, because I feel like it's a little bit different from stuff you've done in the past, and you've really mastered so many different kinds of comedy. So what was it about this that drew you in?
Hello, everybody. We were meeting like pre-pandemic. Dan, when I say we, I'm talking about Dan Gore, Luke Del Tredici, and Mark Schulman. Dan Gore and Luke are the Brooklyn Nine-Nine creators, right? So we would meet, and this is, this was about me working with people, building a relationship, and then one day Dan Gore and I was like, come on, let's do this. And so we met, we had a few different ideas. They came with some ideas. We meet at John and Vinny's in West Hollywood. So they would come with ideas, and they came with 3. I don't remember the other 2. They were all great, but they were like, this really happens. This python hunting goes on in Florida, and this amateurs, and they can win an ATV or some shit. And so they met, and we talked, and it was like that. Well, that's, like you said, different. So that's what really drew me in. And they were like, are you afraid of snakes? And I used to be. But in 2015, I was with my band in Australia, and we went to the sanctuary.
church?
No, animal sanctuary.
Oh, okay.
Snake church. Snake church.
Church.
That's a snake church.
Church. I said, hallelujah. Amen. It was a snake in the Bible. It was a snake.
But that's what I found out. I was like they put a snake around my neck, and I was like, oh, this snake, why, it means me no harm. I've been misled by the Bible and Indiana Jones. So, yeah, but back to what we was talking about, So it was like, I knew I could handle like snakes and play with snakes and stuff, and it just sounded crazy. And I was looking for something too that had that kind of Larry David feel, but with some edge. And this gave me all of that.
I love that. I don't know who wants to follow that, but Ed, I'm gonna go to you and kind of talk a little bit about Rutherford Falls and the initial conversations that you were having with the other two excellent creators about launching this and how it kind of came together.
Sure. So my co-creators on the show are Mike Schur and Sierra Teller Ornelas, and I think it started with just a kind of looking around at the world around us and being like, why are people just being such assholes all the time? and then you realize that when our identities are challenged in some way, that's when we tend to like just get so defensive and angry, and so it felt like a very fertile area for some chuckles. And so that was, I guess, sort of the initial thing. And then we really wanted to tell the story of a white guy sort of with a very rosy view of his history being challenged and getting some sort of reality checks. And it felt like pitting that against a Native American narrative, like those histories and sort of who's controlling those stories and who's telling those stories. And Sierra just came in with so much energy and so many ideas about how to flesh that out, and Rutherford Falls was born.
Thankfully. And Phil, I know you can kind of speak on this. It's something that Rutherford Falls does. It's something that most of the shows up here do, is really finds a way to bring comedy to also tackle big issues in the world and things that people are talking about, but also bring comedy to that. So how do you kind of strike the balance between finding both worlds?
Yeah, for sure. I think in the writer's room, it's just about what topics we feel like are interesting to us. And I agree with Ed. Like, there's we all have had a very tough past couple years with the pandemic and things of that nature. And so I think, for me personally, I wanted to have a show that was like, oh, you can watch this. It feels like a big old TV hug. I want you to watch it and be like, oh, this just feels good to watch. But I think the idea of doing that and actually talking about some issues don't have to be mutually exclusive. And so the idea was to kind of talk about these things, but imbue it with comedy and fun in a way that kind of sneaks in what the actual kind of deeper topic is and brings the funny out without making light of the actual topic at hand. And so I think it's just striking that balance and also I have an amazing cast that we get to work and build around. And so I think it's just kind of a combination of all those things, and really it's just, this is interesting to us, let's figure out a funny way to present it, and then see where it goes. Yeah.
For sure. X, I mean, that's something we see on American Auto all the time. Speaking of a television hug, I mean, clearly it's such a fun show, but it also takes on pretty relevant things that people are talking about every day. What was it for you that made you want to be part of that group? And I'm curious also about how much improv you're allowed to do and you are doing, because I feel like you seem like the kind of person who would sneak in.
No, I'm by the book. I say the line. I don't change if to when or that to this. I'm thespian. No, honestly, truly, I run amok. But here's the thing, Justin Spitzer makes nothing but the hits. He wrote a little show called Superstore. And yes, please clap because NBC needs to keep us on air. So Justin, he came from The Office. Hello, legend.
Hi.
And then and so Justin loves improv. He loves people to play. And I think because I played so much in the audition is why I got the role. So Justin doesn't want people that will just take the words and just read them. Obviously, because as an improviser, I don't know, maybe Phil could speak to this too. I think we all maybe are improvisers. If the words aren't good, if the script is shit, I don't improvise because I don't know where the fuck to go. So because the script is truly the house. The improv is the jacuzzi. You can't fucking have a jacuzzi.
I'm here for this metaphor. Go ahead.
No, seriously. So I'm like, you want me to have a fucking pool table? We ain't got no foundation in this motherfucker. So can I cuss? I'm cussing. Y'all didn't cuss. You're so
I cursed
poised.
in my last panel. I said
need
fuck.
Class. You cussed? Okay.
Yeah, I asked just like you
And
did.
can you say a cuss word?
Well, the name of the panel is Funny AF, which
Yes, I feel like we're fine.
as fuck, right? So
Okay.
I think we're fine.
I think we're fine. Oh, you said fuck. Oh, it feels so much better. Okay. So yeah, so I play a lot, and the thing is that Justin allows me to play, and then all the other people there, we all just want the best joke. So mostly everybody there, I think with the exception of Michael Benjamin Washington and Ty White, who are amazing, but we need those, like in improv, we say kind of like straight men, we need those actors that kind of like wrangle us like roaches. Like Michael Benjamin Washington does a great job of like keeping the foundation, like keeping us on steady. He's like Papa, and like we just get to like go and play. So what attracted me to American Auto was the pay. So it was like a lot of people like to be deep. I was an out of work actor. Like, baby, listen, okay? It was tough. I was at the Daily Show. Shout out to Trevor Noah, best boss ever. But I was writing jokes about, black people getting killed, which if you don't know, it's not that fun. And so it's just, I was like, I need a job. So it was like, yeah, Justin, he makes nothing but the hits. The pay will be great. It's NBC. Who gets to fucking do a network show these days? Like, God bless. I was 2 steps away from TikTok. Like, I was like, what am I gonna do? You feel me? And TikTok, they're talking. They're making money. They're talking, okay? So I hope I answered your question. And I'm gonna put my mic down now.
I love that so much. You definitely answered my question. Liza, I wanna shift to you a little.
Yo!
You're up here on an unscripted show, so it's
Yes.
a little bit different. But I'm curious because obviously there are eliminations, there are, a little darker things, but you have to bring your wit and comedy to it, and you don't have to, but you do. And you are so witty and so funny. How do you kind of mix that in? Do you go in like preparing ahead of time, or is it just...
Thank you so much. First of all, I got to come down from the high that is X. I told her my pupils dilated because I fell in love with her earlier, and I know everybody in the audience is too. Like, just so brilliant. I would love to have you on Dancing with Myself, which is our show that we had.
Oh my goodness, I'm free. Book me.
Yay!
We're on hiatus till September 26th. Yes, thank you.
How much will she be paid?
Yes. I know that's right, Ed. I know that's right. See, the white man know to ask for the money. I know that. God damn it. God damn it!
You can take my check. I'll just volunteer as tribute. I got you.
No, but it's such a fun show, and like we're all speaking about the pandemic and the past couple of tough years that we've been through. Literally, the show's concept and structure mimics exactly what every human was doing during the pandemic, minus X, which was TikTok, which was all of these like dances and choreos and something to lift your spirits, something to do with the family. Your living room was your stage, and now we're bringing that stage to everyone's living rooms at home. So Shakira, le, le, lo, le, le, le. She lets me do that now. We're friends. It's okay. It's fine. It's appropriate. She created this concept with NBC, and Nick Jonas, who's a new daddy, shout out to the new dad, he came along, and both of them have become my favorite like media personalities and comedians. They're brand new as personalities to the space. We know them as pop star sensation icons, but they came in with the commentary, with the comedy, and they let me really run loose and like go in, improv, create my own lines. So that was really, really fun to do. And it's such a lighthearted, fun show that just creates relief in the world, and that's what we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious what you guys turn to. I mean, a lot of us, I assume a lot of people in this room turn to TV that makes you feel good during the pandemic, during tough times, and a lot of you are on shows like that. What did you guys turn to during the pandemic to make you laugh? Whoever wants to go first, let's see. X, you
Jersey Shore seasons 1 through 4. Some of the best fucking television. Just white people running amok. I truly love, if you haven't watched Jersey Shore, I swear to God, I literally had a general meeting with MTV and they said, what would you like to do? I said, host Jersey Shore, the reunion. I don't want to do anything else with you. Like Jersey Shore, it's so good. Yes, I love watching that, and I love watching giraffes having babies. They come out their ass, it's deep. Yeah.
Two very different projects.
I watched My Octopus Teacher. That was tearjerker. That was emotional. That filled my soul up. But you watch a man fall in love with the bottom of the ocean. It was incredible. Yeah, you saw that too?
I saw that.
Yeah, that was good.
He really was into that octopus.
He loved that octopus. It was questionable.
Did he have sex with it? The way y'all talking?
No, it was so platonic.
They didn't show that. If that was,
it is, yeah.
It's kind of implied. I don't know.
Craig, what did you turn to?
I started to laugh. I can just turn on American Dad, but I got into like all these 10-minute podcasts, just these different, just to be entertained and hear what people's perspectives are. And there's a lot of, like this one O'Shea Duke Jackson. It's Dr. BOA. It's just, and then just different stuff. So much stuff you can just learn, and so that's what I would do, and following politics and shit. I don't know. It was just the concept.
That's what you did to laugh?
It was to be fed. I just wanted to be fed.
Ed, what about you?
I also got heavy into like slow TV. There was I think it was Disney or Discovery had a whale series.
Yes.
Yes. They suck you in, and each one I think is an hour, and each episode is about a different whale species. And I know I'm like really sounding exciting, but the point is it's not exciting. The point is you get to just sit there and kind of immerse yourself in the world of whales, which is kind of a lot more pleasant than the world of people. But then for some good chuckles, I got really obsessed with Mr. Mayor. I just thought that was so funny and joyful and ridiculous and insane. And Bobby Moynihan is someone I've always thought is funny, but I feel like he just like kicked it into such a high gear on that show and found a comedy groove for himself that was just awesome.
Phil?
Yeah, I rewatched a lot of Seinfeld. I just really like this. Man, they're really silly. I like that. Yeah. Also, there's this show, Legendary on HBO.
Yes.
Man, that ballroom stuff is, if y'all haven't seen Legendary, check that shit out, because it is so fun. So those are kind of my two kind of comfort watches.
I feel like some people in here may have, like me, watched some of The Office during the pandemic to make yourself laugh. Something I find so interesting is that with it now streaming on Peacock, it garnered a little bit of a new audience, new people coming in that maybe hadn't watched it when it was on. Is that something you guys have experienced? Have you guys noticed that there are new people coming up being like, I hadn't watched it before? I don't know how that's possible, but maybe.
Yes, a buddy of mine just the other day. So, but it's different. I mean, everybody hasn't seen it. It's not everybody's cup of tea, I suppose. But a buddy of mine was like, he just hadn't watched it. And then the pandemic, like his girlfriend was into it, his new girlfriend, and then he started watching it, and he was like, man, I just started watching The Office. You're great. So yeah, but it's such a gift that keeps on giving. It's like you have friends everywhere you go, and I who could have predicted, that'd be a whole thing, right, Ed?
Right, Craig. You know, it is funny. There are a lot of people who haven't seen that show before because they're like 6 years old. And I will say, like, it's crazy to be in an airport or something and have like really little kids run up and be like, Andy Bernard, or like "Ru-du-du-du-du," or whatever. And I'm
My
like,
niece is 13 and she loves The Office.
13 is cool. But little kids, I'm like, you're not old enough to watch that show. Not that it's like R-rated or anything, but like, do you even get it? Like, do you know what an office is, or what, like, you know, that drone life is like? But little kids are watching it, and it's kind of crazy. I do think, you know, one of the things I'm most proud of in being a part of that show. I love what Phil said about your show being like a TV hug. I feel like The Office and Seinfeld and some of these other shows that they just feel like that. And even when I catch an old Office episode or something, I feel that embrace. There's something about that, even though it's deeply dysfunctional, that little community that you just want to be a part of. And I think we need more TV hugs.
Definitely do. Well, I think you guys have some pretty exciting news to share on that front. Ed, do you want to share something?
Drum roll, please.
Guys, this is exciting. Sometime in July, we will be releasing on Peacock the extended cuts of season 5 of The Office.
The super fan edition.
The super fan episodes.
So these are probably what the 6-year-olds.
Calm down, everybody. Jesus Christ. Whoa. It's just the extended super fan edition. Slow down. Austin, what the fuck?
These are the episodes maybe the 6-year-olds shouldn't watch because I feel like this is what couldn't be on network.
Well, yeah, these are the cuts that have all the stuff.
X-rated.
Yeah, all the X-rated footage that wasn't in the actual episodes. No, but it's the stuff that got cut for time, really. So it's just these longer episodes. The storylines are a lot more fleshed out. You see a lot of jokes that you just never saw before. It was always frustrating, honestly. I don't know how you felt, Craig, but the show was so overwritten every week that we would shoot tons of awesome stuff. And then when you see the final cut, you're like, it's good, but like, what about this stuff? What about all that other great stuff that got cut? And so that's what these episodes are. It's all the, like, that extra stuff.
That never happens.
Well, I feel like workplace comedies have been such a big part of, you know, the comedy world for a long time, and they continue to be people connect to them. X, I'm curious how you feel about that, because now you're a part of a workplace comedy. Do you think that it just has some sort of staying power, that it's going to continue to work?
Yeah, I think it's because it's so relatable. You know, and I think, like, as far as like with workplace comedies, I like to watch them to look for the person that I know, to look for who I am. And I think that's why we've been able to see them for so long. And I mean, even with American Idol, what I love is that the people at the top are very fucking dumb. And so you get to see them like, oh yeah, the CEO doesn't know what he's doing. But as someone who's like had a million jobs, I've always had a CEO that didn't know what the fuck they were doing. But you never really get to see that, right? You get to see just like the everyday person, the clerk. But it's like, no, this is like the CEO, the CFO, the person that's in charge of like liability, shipping and control. Like they're all just like losing it. So yeah, I love workplace comedies, and I think they're here to stay for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like to ask people that are in comedy what comedy you wish from the past that you wish you could have been a part of.
Martin, period. Period. Sorry, I answered so quickly. I dreamed. I've like written a spec.
That's a great answer.
I'm obsessed.
It's That's So Raven for me.
Yes.
I'm very much so a knockoff That's So Raven, very low budget, work for free, Raven Simone myself. Yes. Yes. But I loved that growing up. I really feel like that shaped me as a comedian in this world. Yeah.
I love that. Phil, what about you?
I would have loved to have written For and Live in Color. I think that would have been really, really dope. Yeah.
Ed?
Seinfeld? I mean, it's an easy answer, but it's a classic.
It's a good answer.
Yeah. Craig, how about you?
Different Strokes. I wanted to be Arnold Drummond. Are you fucking kidding me, little black kids? I was like, yeah, I had the hair parted like that. That was probably my first influence. But yeah.
That's a good one. I do want to remind you guys we are going to be going to audience questions in a little bit, so get your brains moving there so we can have some good questions from you guys. Phil, we know that Grand Crew is getting a second season.
Yeah. Very excited.
You've obviously written on some really incredible shows. I'm curious how those experiences have contributed to this show.
Every show I worked on, I was just taking nuggets of wisdom from the folks I was working with. So my first job was on Key and Peele, the sketch show. Amazing room, and Jordan and Keegan are geniuses. And so it was cool watching the performative genius of Keegan on set and how he improvises and works, and then the writing genius of Jordan. And also the way that when the room would start in the morning, we'd have what was called a dookie session, which I thought was a very nice way of being like, just throw your shit out there and whatever sticks. You know
I thought it was very different. Like, we all just come together, we'd take a shit together, and we'd start the day.
Yeah. Everyone would have to take a shit at the same time. And then I worked on a show called Survivor's Remorse with Mike O'Malley, who's just an amazing leader. And then did 4 years on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is really where I cut my teeth from a story perspective. And then 2 seasons on Insecure, which is, showrun by Prentice Penny, and then Issa Rae executive producing. So I've been fortunate to just be working with people that are really, really incredible, not only incredible at what they do, but really incredible at making you feel seen and represented in the room, and providing kind of an environment where it's like you just get to share whatever your truth is and whatever idea you have without judgment, which I think makes for the best writer's room. And so I've been trying to replicate that in my room on Grand Crew as well.
Absolutely. Liza, I want to come to you and kind of talk a little about your trajectory of your career, because you've made a little bit of a shift recently, and I'm curious how that is going, and if this has always been the goal, to be a judge and be an actor and be a producer.
No, this is a very, very happy accident, like my birth was. Happy to be here, really, truly. But no, I to give more background context, I'm from more of a digital path. So I kind of, we're talking about the workplace and seeing shows in the workplace. Well, the workplace looked like your place to me. It looked like my place, my home. So I got started, really, my first set was my bathroom. My second set was my bedroom, and then my living room. And that's literally what our show, Dancing with Myself, has become too. Your first set is your living room. Your career can be in the palm of your hands, and that's so powerful, and also so much pressureful too. Yeah, that's a word. Like it's a lot to realize that you can create yourself online and not realize what social platforms you end up on can lead to platforms like this. I'm sitting with icons today, and I'm so honored to be here. But I've had a very, very different path of creating and writing and producing and creating sketches online, and that led to my resume being a digital one that NBC saw and said, hey, yeah, we trust your voice. We trust that you can come on and lose your shit on camera for us. And I absolutely did, and that trust was created with trusting myself, trusting my voice, my story, telling that online unapologetically. This is actually the first project that I've been on that I haven't had, a producerial approach to. This is this is a big puzzle, and I'm just a little piece of it, and I'm so honored. But we all love control, and this lack of control has been like, ugh. refreshing and also muscle tensing. Like, it's so fun to come onto set and play a piece and play that role, but it was hard to take that producer hat off of like, oh, you know what, this could go better this way. You know, this beat or this comedic beat can play out so much better if we lift this at this time or 2 seconds faster. You know, so there's that want to insert myself in a creative and collaborative way, and NBC was so lovely and did it. Like, they absolutely let me in, they let me have fun, let me play. So I'm grateful that they trusted my voice from the very first day on set too. Yeah,
for sure. Ed, I know you were nodding along, you know, obviously taking off your producer hat or creator hat and stepping in front of the camera. I mean, how do you wear all those hats at the same time? Because in Rutherford Falls, you're doing a bit of everything.
I think it just comes down to, you know, finding the best people that you can to surround yourself with. And, you know, Mike Schur was a dear friend from The Office, and he really was instrumental in helping create Andy Bernard. We used to like just hang out and riff about what dumb shit Andy thought or would say, or his like backstory, and just crack each other up. And I really give Mike a lot of credit for kind of like helping me think about who Andy Bernard was. And then of course Andy became this like very, very meaningful chapter of my life. So Mike felt like somebody I always wanted to return to and just collaborate with. And then Sierra is someone we kind of lucked into developing a show with her. My company developed a show with Sierra that didn't go anywhere, but the great part about that was becoming friends with Sierra and sort of like understanding and being really inspired by her insight and creativity, and then the three of us just, as soon as we got together, it just felt like, oh, this is every day the ball kept rolling forward. And we developed Rutherford Falls with no context. It wasn't like, no studio asked us to do it. It was something we would meet in Mike's office every week for months and just throw like a giant dookie session, if you will. Yeah. And just like throw everything against the wall and see what sticks. And I really credit that collaboration with like allowing me the sort of freedom to feel like I can play all those roles, you know, EP and co-creator and actor.
Craig, what about you? Because you also have experience doing both acting and producing at the same time.
What's your question?
How do you kind of go about and balancing those two roles in a part like this?
Well, I defer and delegate. You know, I have my manager who's like my producing partner, who handles a lot of the, but you know, we discuss everything, but you know what I'm saying, I'm not like, I'm focusing on the acting of Killing It. Who's all watching Killing It, by the way? Anybody see it? It's not what the numbers say, but we appreciate you. We appreciate you. But yeah, production is like I said, getting together and just the thing that really has risen out of this conversation is you got to throw something against the wall and see what sticks, and that, you know, that's been hammered home now 3 times. But production is getting together and you know, figuring out and getting of like minds, and then, you know, adding on to these companies get together. You know, it's all pieces to puzzles, and you just, you know, you're there along the way with your yes or no, or this is how I feel.
X, for you, do you have a want to do more of the behind the scenes stuff as well?
Yeah, I do it. I've been producing since I was 19. So I started producing, writing, and directing at 19. Like most black people, we start off like in church. If you come up in the hood, you don't have really like access or really like opportunities and stuff like that. So I came up during like the whole era of like Tyler Perry when he first boomed, and I was like, oh, so this is how it goes. You have to write your own shit, make it, and this is how you make it in this business. So I set out at 19 to do that. I went to film school around 24. I started my own little small production company, and I'm from LA, so all these like reality show bitches that are famous now, they weren't in 2010, and I was doing their pilots, and they're trash. Not the people, the pilots. I'm sorry. Let's say that. Not
I'm glad you clarified, because I thought you meant that the people were trash. I was like, oh damn, shots fired.
No, these basketball wives bitches, they're so sweet. They fed me. They're so sweet. They're so sweet. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then I went to UCB. I started around like 2016, and when I went there, it was very white, and so I was just like, I don't see where I kind of fit in. And then I saw the amazing, the icon Natasha Rothwell do improv, and I literally saw myself physically and just her POV, just the inflection in her voice, how free she was on stage. I was like, oh, I can do this. So then what I started doing is I realized that the numbers were so small at UCB because we do not finish the program to be eligible to audition to be on a house team, which is like the whole reason for being at UCB. So any black person that I saw, I attacked them. I was like, what is your name? Give me your email. And so what I did was I started creating this small little list, and I started asking people at UCB to donate their time. And we had these POC comedy groups because they did not give, it was like 5 categories of scholarships. So it was LGBTQ, people over 40, people with disabilities, black or POC, and then veterans. So out of those 5 groups with 35 scholarships, how many black people are in here? So I said, what if they knew that they had a group that they could come to? And then I opened it up to black and POC. So we had Asian, Latino, Iranian, different people. And so from there, I started my own sketch comedy show called Who Made the Potato Salad? And that was in 2017.
Yeah.
Yes, and so if you don't know, Who Made the Potato Salad is a question we commonly pose at cookouts. Like, it seems very simple. It seems like it's just a couple ingredients, but people like to make it an ambrosia salad. They like to put peaches and shit. So we're just like, it's just not what it is. So Who Made the Potato Salad is a sketch comedy show that's produced by us and for us. And in the pandemic, I pivoted from doing live sketch comedy, obviously because black people were like the most vulnerable to this virus. So to be responsible, we started doing panels so I can educate my community on the business of entertainment. And then we did workshops. We did a late night workshop where I allowed 200 people to submit. And then from there, we picked the top 25, and because I came from The Daily Show and I have friends at Amber Ruffin and Deezus and Mero, we mentored 25 people and made a mock episode of Late Night, and from that, one of our mentees got hired as a digital producer at The Daily Show. So I'm doing the work, and I've been doing the work, and I'm very proud of that.
Incredible.
I hate you so much.
All right, I want to open it up to some audience questions here. I think someone's coming around with a mic, so if you have a question, just raise your hand.
Who do you want first?
Right
Okay.
here. Yeah, right up here.
It's always best to ask the question in the mic so everybody can hear you.
Hey guys, my question is for Craig and Ed, and I'm kind of curious when the last time you guys saw each other was.
Was it the threesome?
With Patrice?
The threesome at Rain's house. Rain wasn't there, but it was. It was pre-pandemic, yeah.
Yeah, for sure, pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, I'm not sure.
I don't know the answer to that question. It's an odd question, but it's been a couple of years since I've seen you, for sure.
At least. And we've been on email chains. It's not like we've been completely out of touch. It's like the Avengers or some shit. Somebody's like, hey, there's a child in the hospital. Everybody jumps on and like send the videos. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, there's a good office text chain that keeps us afloat.
Nice.
Hi there. First of all, just want to say thank you all for spending time with us this afternoon. My question's for Egg Helms. I know it's not the show you're not here to talk about, but during the pandemic, I found Auntie Donna, and I really, really loved it. And I just was hoping you could talk about like how you came to be involved with those guys in that show.
So Auntie Donna is a show that my company produced, and it was on Netflix. And it's a sketch comedy show with these 3 Australian guys, and it is completely batshit crazy and insane and hilarious. And it was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Netflix was like, nope, no more. And I really appreciate you asking about it. I'm so proud of that show, and I suggest everyone go out and watch it. Auntie Donna. What was the question? Oh, just how did we get involved? So these 3 guys were doing live shows all over the world, really, Australia and in the U.S. And one of this guy that works in our company was just obsessed with them, and he kept showing us their videos. They had a huge YouTube following, and we were like, "This is a no-brainer. Let's see if we can give these guys a bigger platform." And Netflix jumped on board, and then jumped immediately off board.
As they do. Look.
Back of it.
Oh, okay. So there's a bit in it where I make a cameo in a sketch as as Ed Helms, the producer of the show, but they start saying, they're like, Ed, so what's this? And I'm like, guys, why do you keep calling me Ed? And they're like, well, that's your name. I'm like, no, my name is Egg Helms. And they're like, no, your name is Ed. It's right here on IMDb. I'm like, IMDb is wrong. I'm Egg Helms. And I get in this screaming fight with them about the fact that my name is Egg Helms. And the answer to your question is no, that was not my idea. It came from the brilliant minds of Auntie Donna.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Owen, over here?
Yeah, right over here. It's great.
Okay.
Hi. So as you guys kind of touched on already, a lot of people turn to comedy as sort of like a way to escape from the reality of life, the pandemic, everything that's going on. But at the same time, you guys have and use so well your platform to sort of create that distance that you can talk about issues that are more approachable when you do it in a funny way. So my question is, where do you strike that balance between creating that escapism but also sort of touching on issues? So many of you strike it so well, so I'm wondering if you have a process for that.
Does anyone want to take that?
Phil?
Yeah. I mean, so you just you take out your computer, you just click, 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 click. Don't know where that came from.
That's great.
Thank you. Does that answer your question? No. I think again, I've been on shows that have done it really well. I mean, whether it be sketch like Key and Peele, I think they were masters of being like, here's how to take this thing that is kind of sensitive and taboo and just make it really, really funny. Down to like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I had an opportunity to write the episode called Moo Moo, which is like about police stuff and all that. And so I think it's learning from those experiences how to make the sensitive topic, like honor that in a way that you're not making light of it, but also figure out ways from the characters that you have to kind of make the most fun and funny moments. Also, I think there is something comforting about not ignoring the issues, right? And so I think as much as you want I want Grand Crew to be a show like where it's like, oh, this feels good. It's like sometimes feeling good is being like, oh, they think that too. They feel that way too. Oh, like I've vented to friends like that about the headlines and stuff like that. So I think, and I have an advertising background too. So a lot of times in advertising, it's like, what's the insight? What's the human thing that's going to make somebody say, I like that, I am that, I felt that, I believe what they're saying. And so I think it's trying to hone in on an insight and then finding the comedy off of that insight. And that's kind of how I approach it in the writer's room.
Yeah, I told you guys, so I was at the Daily Show for 3 years. So I was there during, Trump's reign. So it was terrible. I had to get Twitter because they were like, he's going to pull his dick out any moment, X. You got to get Twitter. Because I do not do Twitter. That's where demons roam. But So for me, what I like to do, because I remember there was a time Trump did something so fucked up. I think that's when he hit up the Taliban on 9/11 and then posted it on Twitter and was like, yeah, I hit up the Taliban. I could do that. You know, I'm the president. And so I really went to my boss and I was like, Jube, like, there's no joke here. Like, I literally had been there maybe about 6 months and like he performed some like Jedi shit on me. He looked me in my eyes like piercingly. He was like, X, there's always a joke. And I was like, oh shit. And so I wrote 12 fucking jokes and I'm like, you know, cause I'm such an actor and a feelings person. And I'm like, this is disrespectful. All I have is just words. I don't have jokes. So now, you know, I'm kind of fucked up cause I make a joke about everything. But what I will say is that you could like I don't know any other term to say it, but in late night we say gang, like you gang out different things. So like T.I., who's a rapper who's very dumb, please don't support him. He did some dumb shit where he likes to go in when his daughter gets her shit checked for her hymen. He wants to make sure the shit's intact. It's fucking weird, right? So when I was thinking of different jokes, I was like, oh, his dumb ass thinks the only way you can fucking break your hymen is through sex. And I was like, stupid ass, she could go horseback riding, or she could sit on a cucumber, or like, you know, like I was like, there's so many different ways. So when you're like approaching different jokes and like, oh, there's a fucked up thing, like think of the fucked up thing and it's like, oh, what are different ways that I can approach this? And what I would do is like when we would get called, they'd be like, gang, Trump, you know, is feeling nipples. They would be like, okay, so what different jokes can I write about him? And I would do like 12 or 13. And literally there's some study that I saw, I don't remember it, where the location is from. This is very bad, I'm so sorry. But this psychologist who's much smarter than me said like the way that our brains work, like we produce shit, hello Dookie Sessions, call back, and you do get it out. And then like the first 10 things you do is shit. The next 8, kind of okay. Next 5, we're getting somewhere. Last 2, all right. And one of those we'll use. So it's just kind of like it's really like, I think if we approach comedy like we do basketball, I approach it like reps. You would never get on a fucking court one day, the first day, and think you're gonna be Jordan. You'll be like, I gotta shoot this shit a lot. So that's how I approach it, and I feel like if any of you here wanna write comedy or do that, if you approach it that way and just as reps, you're gonna fucking suck. I was ass at The Daily Show. I sucked. Trevor liked me and I made him laugh. Like, we would be shooting the shit. That's the only fucking way that I lasted as long as I did. And after the first year, I was like, fuck, I got it. Because you have to know how to write for another voice. This is not the Mayo show. So when Lizzo does some dumb shit, he can't say what I say because I'm a big black woman. You know, he's a light-skinned African, middle framed. He's not plus size. So it's just kind of like, it's difficult, you know? So I hope that helped.
And that's what I meant when I said, you know, you open up the laptop and
Yeah, I just interpret it.
Yes,
just interpret it. That's translated. We said the same thing, babe.
Thanks, Zach. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Who
I wanted
else has a
to-
question? Let's see. Let's go over to the back, over here, back row. There we go.
Hi. First, thanks for coming to my birthday party.
Happy
birthday! Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Hallelujah.
To you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Jared.
Darren. Happy birthday to
Thank you.
Hey,
Jared, that wasn't free. Craig will be invoicing you. This nigga is paid. He will be invoicing you. That was not free. I want you to know that.
The question, though, since most of you have background in comedy, what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's been doing stand-up for a long time to break into the entertainment industry?
Is it really your birthday?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully we can take some photos.
Hey, check. How long you been doing comedy?
13 years. I had a show last night at the Fallout Theater. Thanks for coming.
I didn't know,
love
bro.
him.
Damn.
Okay.
I didn't.
You welcome.
First of all, you got to promote the show before it happens.
Yeah.
I got banned on Twitter like the president, so I tried.
Hey, but I'm not sure what your end goal is.
To be Asian Jim, but on longer.
Asian Jim, but on long, like from The Office, the episode?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But on TV longer.
Correct. He was on
Okay.
for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
If I can break it for 5.
Are you gonna listen, motherfucker? Goddamn! What the fuck? If I can do it, you got to listen. Now, and you got to do exactly what you just did, too. You got to make some noise. You got to be unforgettable, and you made a room full of people laugh in like 5 seconds. So you got to just, stay the course, and be open to the festivals, and like I said, I don't know your end. If you just want to be on TV for 2 minutes, you still got to study your ass off in acting and everything else. Those people that's on there, sometimes no. Cuba Gooding Jr. was in fucking Coming to America with no lines. He was just sitting there smiling in the barber chair. So I forgot where I was going with that, but and you gotta go hard. You gotta go harder. You gotta do comedy every night. And believe in yourself and fucking see opportunity and climb it. Don't run away from it.
I would also just add that I would suggest that you expand the scope of your goals, because The Office is no longer on the air, and Randall Park was already Asian Jim, and I don't think that opportunity will come up again. So I think you should maybe expand your
I
aspirations.
think go ahead.
That's it.
Facts. Imagine what it looks like outside of that. So I struggle with this exact issue because me and X were talking about it. Comedian and the word comedian looks different nowadays, and we always have a foreword to present before comedian, like internet comedian. What was the other one you said, X?
Stand-up.
Right.
There's people who do characters, clown.
Right, sketch comedian, exactly. And I'm a very different form of comedian. I did not want to be called the C word for a long time. I was like, that has a whole other definition than what I do. And going into unscripted, going into scripted, like bringing my voice into all of that too is pulling from my experiences. Your question earlier was like, how do you make the spoonful of sugar help the medicine go down effect? That's what we did in our show, Liza on Demand. It's a YouTube original show. Hey, oh, thank you. Hey, that's what the numbers showed, exactly, just one. But no, that was exactly same exact thing of like pulling from experiences of what is it like to be this ethnically ambiguous little brown girl in this world, and what happens to me. I'm from Texas, H-Town represent. Let's go. And y'all know you say woo, but we also say sorry a lot. We say sorry all the time. And I'm trying to rap as well as I can with my honky tonk boots and everything. I'll see y'all at the barbecue after, and I will bring a shitty potato salad. I'm sorry. But we say sorry so much, and there was this whole episode about women saying sorry and not being able to stop saying sorry. We have another episode about body dysmorphia. We have another episode about this. I accidentally sneezed in this white man's DNA test, and he turns out he thinks he's Indian now. That's the reason why I'm brown. I'm sorry it was so mysterious, but yes. And so that whole episode is about him, taking advantage of the fact that he might be Indian now. His daughter's trying to get a scholarship because she thinks she's Indian / Native American. Wrong Indian girl. Like the whole show is about that spoonful of sugar medicine go down effect. So I think it's really, to go back to your question, really pulling from your own experiences, what makes you uniquely you, and imagining outside of what you've already seen on TV and putting yourself, in a new space and creating that new space environment for yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I got a quick little build. I said before, I used to work in advertising, and when I was in New York working in advertising, I thought that my hope was to become an actor. So if you had asked the version of myself 10 years ago that said, oh, you kind of made things work in the entertainment industry, I would have said, oh, cool, the acting stuff worked out, but I'm a writer, I'm a showrunner. So I think, to Ed's point, it's like, if you're interested in entertainment and comedy, not to say do things that you don't like, but if you like directing, I say direct a thing, man. If you like writing, man, write that pilot, write that play, because you never know what door of opportunity is going to open for you. And for me, it was a bunch of failed auditions, and then I wrote a pilot, and then all of a sudden, I'm writing for one of the best sketch shows that there ever were. You know what I mean? So I think it's like just follow the energy, and don't. You might have a specific vision, but that vision might not pay off the way that you see it in the long term. But as long as you keep working, that's really what matters.
Also, too, a lot of people, when they say those types of things like that, this is no disrespect, but you have to ask yourself, do you want to work or do you want to be famous? Because there's so many ways for you to work. Like when people want to make a late night show, well, you can do it and you can execute it to the most excellent level on YouTube, right? Like if you, like, hey, I want to do like political comedy, well, you can do jokes and write them, and you can like write them up on Twitter and do that. So it's just kind of like, if you want to do movies, you can make that. Like we have so many things that are accessible, and you say you've been doing this for 13 years. Like I started auditioning at 12. I booked my first series, Regular World, at 33. So this is 21 years of no. So you don't know when that's gonna happen. Leslie Jones got on one at 46. So if that's your goal, and it's contingent upon an industry where you don't have to be good, you just have to be beautiful and have value, high value, meaning like a name, like I don't know what's gonna happen for you. That's just some real talk. And also, no shade, but you live in Austin. Like, it's happening in LA, New York, or if you were in Atlanta, like it's about where the connections are. Like I'm from LA and then I moved to New York. I got into the room at the Daily Show. I was performing improv with someone for a year and didn't know they were a producer there. But I was in New York. I was in the shit. You should definitely be where it's happening, because you could be the greatest comedian here in Austin, but when you go to New York, that's the NBA. So you doing like street ball here, but the big boys is up there. You feel me? So that's just my little 2 cents as well.
Happy birthday, asshole.
Yes, there's only one Craig Robinson, ladies and gentlemen, and will only be one, goddammit.
Let's give it up for this entire
So
panel.
good.
Thank you guys so much for coming out.
There's only you in my life, the only thing that's right.